Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Burns. This is their part number VP4251. This is a door pole, obviously. This happens to be a 48-inch version of the door pole. This is specifically 48-inch overall length and 42-inch center to center. You can tailor the overall length, the center to center, to suit your requirements. The bars are cut, or the tubes are cut. The mounting posts are added, and the locations required. And this is what a VP4251 looks like. It just happens to be 48-inch overall length. This is also 606 finish, and that means three things. That means that this is solid brass. Well, the material is brass. Brass is an alloy of four primary, components. I think it's really called within the industry as architectural bronze, but it's brass. But this is not a solid bar of brass. This is a hollow tube. It's tubular. That's number one. Number two, that it is in a satin finish. And number three, it has a lacquer on it, which is that reflective sort of sheen that you see to it. That's the lacquer. The lacquer is there importantly to protect the finish that's on the brass, the brushing that's been done on the brass material. And while, of course, as is true with all things, the lacquer will, fail and fatigue. Rings are on people's fingers and keys are in the hands, and that will work to break that all down. And indeed, this client has ordered this pull handle to replace one that has been in existence for a decade, or 2 decades, in fact. And the finish has fatigued and failed. And it wasn't practical to try to get that refinished because there were two. Of course, you know which one wore out first. The right-hand reverse door. It's the entry door to a steak restaurant in Houston, Texas, or Austin. I forget. I can tell you. It's in neither. It's in Birmingham, Alabama. The client's billing address is in Houston. This is going to Birmingham, Alabama. So that right-hand reverse door is pretty bad, but they decided to change only one because the other door looked still pretty good, is what they were doing. Or there were a pair of doors here at main entry doors, but then around the corner was exit only, but those doors appeared, they have the same pull handle on the exterior, but exits on the inside. And I think they were going to swap, handles around to avoid ordering two, is the bottom line. But nonetheless, this is what a VP4251 and 606 looks like. So this is a mounting type, 1HD. And 1HD is just a typical through bolt. You get 2 bolts. You're going to get 2 finish or countersunk washers. That's what it's going to look like on the side of the door opposite of the pull handle. That's what you're going to see. Okay. This being HD, I think it's just 5/16. Yeah, indeed. The bolt diameter is 5/16. 18 is the thread type. This is automatically manufactured for doors that are 1 3/4 thick. If you have a door thickness other than that, just let us know. There's generally not an upcharge for an 1 3/8 door or a 2 1/4 or 4.5 inch door. There can be. This bolt should be about 2 1/4. It's about 2 7/16. So that's going to work just well for your 1 3/4 thick door that will thread down into this mounting post. Very ample depth that's been tapped there. Okay, so a lot of thread contact between bolt and mounting post. Let's switch now to the screen view and let's take a look at the variations and options that are available for this type of pull handle. Okay, here was what the pull handle looks like in the site that we have here. Some images that we have uploaded. An end view showing what the profile of it looks like. See a little bit of evidence of the lacquer here. Nice image of a bright piece of hardware showing the satin brass finish. The opposite side, obviously. Showing the mounting post detail from the back end, and then your 2 fasteners. that would be included. Now, extended description information is listed here down below. So it's 48-inch overall length. The standard center to center would be 46 3/4. It does not have to be that. In fact, I would even question whether or not that's accurate. Now, you can override that. This client had these pull handles and said, yeah, but the center's not 46 3/4. Okay, what is it? 42-inch? Fine. And we dictated that to the, or indicated, I should say, to the vendor that we needed a 42-inch center. This bar is 1 1/4 diameter. There's 1 1/2, 1 1/4, 1 inch. 1 1/4 is a good size. 1 inch is generally a little bit small, I think, from a perspective point of view on a large pole. 1 1/2 is pretty big. 1 1/2 is the same diameter that you see in commercial grab bars in commercial washrooms. And while those aren't unheard of, I think 1 1/2 is on the big side for door pulls. So, you know, that's of course a subjective determination on diameter, but 1 1/2 is fairly uncommon in my experience. Occasionally we sell them, but that's a pretty big, thick pole. 3 3/8 projection. I'll put the tape measure on this pole before we're done. Square ends. They can also do rounded ends as well. Made of brass and a satin clear coated finish. Okay, now mounting options. We're going to look at that in a moment. Other options: leather wrapped, dye simulation, antimicrobial coating. That can be done. Customer supplied photos are here of what's being worked on. Now, when you order the material, you have to select your mounting type. Okay, and here they are. A definition for mounting type is here under mounting drawing. This client ordered a type 1 HD. And it's a bit, type 1 HD is clearly indicated here as the countersunk washer head here. That's going into what would probably be a push bar, would be my guess. Heavy duty through bolt with finish washer. Other mount types, the other mount types are described. Single, concealed, back to back, single concealed again, decorative, through bolt. Then there's a product template here, and it's a generic drawing of this item, and you can look at the dimensional properties of the item. And when the factory sends us a confirmation for this material, they will fill in all the details on this standard document that we will review, approve, and then send back. Okay. Now, there is the link to the manufacturer's page here. And when we click on that link here, the manufacturer's page will indeed load, where we can review not only all of the Burns products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And it's in that catalog that I'd like to fire that up. And we'll do a find function on our keyboard for VP4251, and you'll find the page where it's located on. It's on the 64th page of the document in their vertical architectural vertical pulls section, which is a mini standalone catalog. The point of showing this to you is because it is likely the most elegant way to simply see this item along with all of its sister products. So immediately, VP4251, offset, square ends. Well, you have the VP4241 is a straight. The pull is straight. This is a elevation perspective. That's a right side view. An offset is offset from the center line. Elevation perspective, right side view. Why would you want an offset versus a straight pull? Well, I'll tell you why. You have a shopping mall or a steakhouse in Birmingham, Alabama. You have big glass doors, really nice, whatever, wood, that's awful. Wood, aluminum, whatever the case is. You're going to have a cylinder for the lock. You're going to have a straight pull that's going to go right down like this, preventing you from getting to that cylinder. Or you can do an offset pull that will move that pull handle out and over. You see the point. The offset pull moves you off of that so that you can access the, your locking hardware is the bottom line. Walk through any mall and notice how many times a mistake has occurred where they've used straight pulls and there's not straight access to a cylinder. I've had employees of those applications call and say, yeah, it's pretty tough to get my hand in there. Anyway, so that's the difference between straight and offset. Then, of course, you have the different diameters. 1 inch, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inch, 50, 51, 52. Made of brass or bronze or stainless steel. And the finish that you request is going to define what the base material is. If you want polished stainless, it's obviously going to be a stainless steel base material. You can do the round end version of all of these. It becomes a 42 to a 4351 radius ends, as you can see. Admittedly, we sell more of the square end than we do the radius end. That's to be sure. Okay. And as you continue to look through these pages, you'll see the introduction, the standard pulls, other variants of pulls, other designs, basically. So I would certainly take a look. They do a job of wood pulls, where the center section here is going to be made of wood, different species of woods, different finishes are available. Architectural style, different shapes of material. I believe they have had leather in their product cut sheet as well. I don't see that listed here, but it's something that would be a special request into the factory for them to be able to review their ability to provide something leather wrapped. You do see leather wrapped pulls. People do call us a few times a year for leather wrapped pulls. Beautiful hardware. Now, also on the manufacturer's page would be Burns Architectural Door Pulls, the standalone catalog of this pull, which is what I wanted to point out. Let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, a nice quality pull handle from Burns. They do a pretty reasonable job. I'm almost always thrilled with their fit and finish. It looks nice. Looks like these people understand architectural metal. Could certainly understand how they would. They've been in business for several decades. I believe is a multi-generation affair over at Burns. They are experts when it comes to trim and auxiliary hardware, the finishing process. Cutting a bar and tapping some holes, that's quite mechanical, but the finish process, that's art, because that's chemistry to get that finish. And it can, lots of times I've seen finishes that were not accurate, and Burns does a fairly good job at giving the client the finish that the industry would define as 606 or satin brass, and this very much, in my estimation, meets that criteria. Really nice looking satin brass product. So, if you have any questions on the Burns VP4251 pull handle or any other Burns product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.